Shiloh Sanders left and splits as Coach Prime's 330 pounds prodigy takes NFL representation 7,062 miles away. It started with a pyramid, a beach, and a 330-pound buffalo chilling in the foreign country. No, that isn't the start of a Disney reboot. It's just Coach Prime's favorite chaos agent going global. While Shiloh Sanders was in Tampa Bay, grinding for a roster spot and flashing that signature Sanders confidence, his Colorado teammate Yehia Attia decided to steal the NFL spotlight 7,062 miles away from the foot of the Great Pyramid. And boy, Shiloh, he couldn't stop laughing. On May 31st, Yehia Attia, aka the Bulldozer, hopped on Instagram, barefoot on Egyptian sands, draped in swagger, and repping the NFL Academy like a gladiator from the East. Standing at 6'4", weighing in at 330 pounds, and built like a human freight train, Attia announced the upcoming IFAF Africa Flag Football Championships like he was dropping a mixtape. "Hello," he said in Arabic, beaming. "NFL Africa, what's up? My name is Yehia, born and raised in Egypt, graduated from the NFL Academy, now an offensive lineman for the Colorado Buffaloes." Attia's message had that cinematic edge, clips of pyramid and sand vibes. Attia made another clip where he gave a shout-out to the home team, signing off with, "Play with heart. Show your strengths. Let's make history. Let's bring it home. I'm behind you with every step. Let's attack it and dominate." I said dominate. Then boom. Camera flipped to the C.NFL commented, "Doing this in front of the pyramids is such a flex." And Shiloh? He hit the comments with a string of laughing emojis. Face with tears of joy, 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 face with tears of joy. It's a surreal image. One teammate breaking into the NFL, another going viral in the desert. But that's Coach Prime's world. Yehia Attia's announcement is tied to something bigger. The IFAF African Flag Football Championships are set for June 20th to 21st in Cairo, Egypt, and will serve as a qualifier for the 2026 World Championships. This is low-key, Olympic-level energy. The whole tournament is part of a broader push to bring American football to the global stage before its official Olympic debut at the 2028 LA Games. Ali Rafiq, the Egyptian Federation president, said it best. "The first continental championship is our biggest chance to speak to the global audience and tell the story of Africa that will inspire the world." And best believe, Attia's story is inspiring. The man didn't even touch a football until 2022. One soccer injury in Austria turned into a full pivot to the NFL Academy in England. That landed him with the Colorado Buffaloes, where Coach Prime saw something raw and powerful. Attia made his debut as a freshman against Arizona, showing flashes of promise on both offense and special teams. He might not be NFL ready yet, but the man has the size, story, and motor to make scouts look twice. And now, he's the unofficial face of football's African movement. Not bad for a guy who just 3 years ago was kicking a soccer ball. Shiloh Sanders' Tampa Bay life. Meanwhile, back in Florida, Shiloh Sanders isn't wasting a single sunrise. Fresh off going undrafted, Shiloh landed in Tampa Bay as a free agent, and he came in swinging. Forget the doubters. Shiloh walked in with that patented Sanders swagger and instantly started winning over the locker room. Word out of Bucs camp? Coaches are feeling his energy, and teammates already consider him a favorite. He's not just vibing off the field either. On YouTube, Shiloh's got a whole new series going where he explores Tampa like a tourist with a helmet. His recent vlog? A brunch review at the Pearl at Water Street. Bougie food, casual fits, meeting fans on the boardwalk. Shiloh's turning Tampa into his own version of Boulder, and the Bucs' official X account? Reposting his stuff like he's already on the 53-man roster. But don't get it twisted. Shiloh still has a grind ahead. The safety room in Tampa Bay is crowded with names like Kayvon Merriweather and fellow UDFA J.J. Roberts. To make it, Shiloh's got to bring the heat on special teams and prove he's more than just a media darling. That said, Shiloh's work ethic is already turning heads, and the Bucs are watching. He might have gone undrafted, but the man's treating every day like a second pro day. Funny enough, while Shiloh's putting in work stateside, it's moments like Yehia's Egypt drop that remind us how far Coach Prime's reach has gotten. From Boulder to Cairo, Tampa to the pyramids, Deion Sanders' influence is moving like wildfire. And Shiloh? He's not just laughing from the sidelines. He's out here proving he belongs. One vlog, one hit, and one comment at a time. Deion Sanders says the quiet part out loud and fires back at Shedeur Sanders' critics. It wasn't a touchdown pass or a flashy pregame outfit that made the moment stick. It was a quiet sentence, shared just before 2024 Father's Day. "He taught me how the world works," Shedeur Sanders said, speaking not as a quarterback, but as a son. That line hit deeper than any highlight reel. It was a nod to lessons passed down from Deion Sanders, the father who also happens to be one of football's fiercest icons. But when the NFL draft rolled around and Shedeur's name didn't come off the board until the 5th round, it was more than just pundits buzzing. It felt personal. And Coach Prime, he let it simmer. Until he didn't. A month of silence gave way to a storm. After weeks of watching speculation mount around his son's draft slide, Deion Sanders finally broke his silence during a June 1st interview with Asani Samuel on ESPN Cleveland. And he didn't hold back. Addressing the swirl of rumors, he said, "I think a couple people who may have taken shots at my kids, they were afraid that I would go. That's where the shots came from. They want to create these narratives and create these stories and then attach them to a kid that ain't never done nothing wrong." Coach Prime wasn't just defending Shedeur. He was calling out a system he believes actively worked to chip away at his son's value. Once seen as a potential top 3 pick, Shedeur Sanders ultimately fell to 144th overall in the 5th round, a drop that raised more questions than answers. Among the loudest claims? That Shedeur had shown up unprepared for a pre-draft meeting with the Giants, allegedly failing a test. Brian Dable had slipped into a playbook. Deion found the whole thing laughable. "You gonna tell me he was unprepared? You gonna tell me he had on headphones?" he said, mocking the idea with incredulity. The scrutiny didn't stop there. Former NFL lineman Ross Tucker had claimed the quarterback turned down mandatory interviews thrice. Other reports hinted that Deion himself tried to steer his son away from landing with the Browns, claims that now appear baseless. Deion Sanders fires back at critics. Coach Prime took the narrative apart piece by piece. When you sit up there and say something like, "He went in a meeting unprepared," like, dude. Shedeur Sanders, who's had 6 different coordinators, who has still functioned and went up, leveled up every time we brought somebody new in. And you're going to tell me he was unprepared? For Sanders, it wasn't just about debunking rumors. It was about protecting a reputation forged under pressure. He reminded listeners that his sons had grown up in front of the camera, and with that came a certain mental toughness. They know how to handle themselves, and you're not going to catch them in no foolery and no mess. So far, the results are speaking louder than the rumors. By all accounts, Shedeur Sanders has impressed at Browns OTAs. With questions swirling around Cleveland's quarterback room, there's growing buzz that the rookie could be named starter by week 1. If so, it would be the ultimate clapback for a player many wrote off before he even took a snap. And Deion isn't about to let that go unnoticed. "No, you a dog. Your kid's a dog, and dogs don't always rise to the top." He said it with pride, but also with a challenge. Coach Prime wasn't just defending his son, he was daring the league to keep watching. Because if there's one thing Deion Sanders has never done quietly, it's prove people wrong. And now, Shedeur's got that same fire.